Sir, so we have to change the system of curriculum as well, the whole issue, and we should be starting to work on the research and the other methods of education, not only memorizing and getting private lessons. What about the issue of private lessons? Do you believe that if we do increase the salaries of the teachers, this would decrease the issue of private lessons, or will go on with this even with increasing the salaries of the teachers?
Whatever you give the teacher, it's not a matter of the teacher only. It's the matter of the unwritten agreement. Every parent, every family wants his student, his son or his daughter to get the full mark. And the education system is providing a tool to achieve this through this mechanism, which is a private lesson. Okay, the whole education system in the world is changing. Okay, it's not a matter of the teacher, and it's not a matter of the curriculum. It's a matter of the mechanism of teaching. We are moving from teaching to learning. So we have a new mechanism, we call it, okay, student-centric approach. Each student is a case by himself. You have to deal with him based on his capacities and on his skills. You don't do what we call the average thing. So in your classroom, you usually do the average. So you don't benefit the good student and you don't help the less qualified student. And you end up by having something which we call it nothing. So the whole universe is moving right now to a new mechanisms. The first one, as I mentioned to you, is the student-centric approach, where you have tailored program for each student based on his capacities and on his progress. So it's not a matter of how many years you spend in the education system. It's not the time. It is the value added to your quality and your skill. Okay? So you move to another mechanism for learning. It's not a matter of teaching, it's learning. So the student is responsible to get the info, and the info is available everywhere. The older generation, like me, used the teacher as the one and the only one source of information. It's no longer valid. If you look to what we have right now, we have multiple sources of information. You have the internet as the largest library on earth. You have the media as another source of information, where you have a lot of info provided to the student from day one. So the issue is not the info which we feed your mind with. It is the skills which helps you to use this info to build something new. So we are speaking about inquiry-based, project-based approach. In inquiry-based, the teacher is responsible to one thing, to ask questions, not to give answers. The answers is the responsibility of the students. So the students go to information resources, search, and get the answers, and come back to the teacher and tell him the answers. If the teacher feels that the answers are okay, this is okay. This means the objective has been achieved. So he moves to step 2, which is what you can do with those info. So he used a project-based approach. So we are speaking about inquiry-based, project-based approach. This is the new mechanisms which need to be applied. And fortunately, we have built one school in Egypt to do this. It's called Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics School, STEM school. This was a new experience which built in 6th of October to build a new breed of learners. And we have did a hell of research to build this school. We have contacted most of the advanced schools all over the world. And we came up with this approach and with this curriculum. And we have done this in one school. Then we have copied this in another school in Maadi for girls. Right now we have almost 3 schools from this mechanism. This mechanism needs to be spread all over the whole country, not to be focused only in 2 or 3 schools. you need every school in Egypt to adopt this mechanism. And this mechanism, we don't test them in what they memorize. We test them by the projects which they are implementing. Because when you implement the project, you use the knowledge which you have acquired in an appropriate way. And if you have a problem, you can solve by searching. So you build your search skills, your understanding, and you apply what you have learned into real life.
So it seems like a very commonsensical way to look at the education system. However, it is lacking in Egypt.
Yeah.
I want to also speak to you about the infrastructure of schools in Egypt. Just when you walk into a government school, you can see that there's something wrong with the infrastructure. There's concrete everywhere. Even there's no playground or a grass green area for children to eat their lunches or their breaks. The classrooms are very close to each other, on top of each other, not spacious enough. There is a problem with the infrastructure of schools, and there needs to be an approach where if new schools are going to be built, they need to be built differently, and old schools need to catch up to the new schools and have a restructuring. Tell us what needs to be done.
I agree with you 100% about the status of our schools. But all what I am trying to say, it's not the matter of the building. It's the matter of achieving the goal. And when I started to get in touch with education, and this was back in 1999, okay, when everybody speaks about, you know, improving the schools and building new schools and all this stuff. Okay, I said, hey guys, we should think in another manner, because actually we do have a problem of lack of resources.
Yes.
And if we are going to wait to improve our education system until we achieve the thing which you are speaking about, this will take us ages and ages. So what I have done is I went to visit India, where we have 340 million students enrolled in schools. And I went to visit schools in the villages of India, where I didn't find a building. They were learning under the trees, sitting on the grounds, but they still getting a reasonable education. If we speak about the old Egyptian, where they used to learn in kutab or katatib,
and mosques.
and in the mosques, okay? The issue of quality of education should not be considered or relied on the fact that we don't have the proper school. Yes, we need the proper school. Yes, we need spacious areas where our boys and girls can play and can, move on their freedom. Yes, we need all of this.